Hello everyone! As the Gwent expansion Master Mirror approaches, the first journey is coming to a close. The journey added a Battle Pass style feature into Gwent filled with incredible cosmetics and cool quests released weekly, as well as a great story chronicling the meeting of the Bard and the Witcher. The story shows the events from both characters' perspectives as they progress, split into 4 chapters. I'm going to read each of the chapters from both characters' perspectives so that you don't have to. I'm also going to give my opinion on what the next journey is going to be and the reasons that I think that. I hope that you enjoy. Chapter 3. Dandelion. Both were pulled by their hands, then pressed into the wall against their backs. It was quite pleasant. That is, until the courtesan suddenly disappeared, leaving them alone in the dark. Dandelion waited until the blackness thinned and the floor stopped tilting so strangely. Women really had no mercy. How could they just leave them like that? After all the cuddles and giggles, he would bet his own loot the courtesans planned to charge them for services that did not actually take place. Well, at least they left some alcohol. Dandelion raised a bottle which seemed to fall into his hand completely by itself. Meanwhile, Geralt mumbled under his breath. First, something about shouting. Second, about paying for the wine that the bard just took. Maybe it was a professional habit of sorts, to look for problems, even in the privy. Where were they right now? It didn't matter really. For Dandelion, such idle talk seemed like nothing more than a waste of time. He was a poet of action, not only of words. So he told Geralt to do something useful already. Look for a way out of this goddamn place, or at least drink some more. But the prude grumbled even more. Who would have thought that a witcher could have such moralising impulses, not to mention a conscience? Well, Dandelion didn't want to argue with him. He was definitely too sober for quarrels around the moral relativity of his actions. So he gave in and prepared a generous payment for the services provided by the little flower. Ha! Dandelion shouted cheerfully, seeing a dim light in this arse of a... Wait, where were they? It doesn't really matter. The Witcher was just raving about escaping, clearly overlooking something more important. Their need for more wine. Still, this was an exit, right? Rather strange, though. High above, no stairs, bars instead of doors. Bullshit of a gods and their virgin mother, what was that? The bard clutched his head. A sudden blow swept him off his feet and, even worse, sobered him up a little. Seconds later, the floor changed places with the ceilings again. Someone, Geralt, threw the poet like a sack of wheat. Ouch! He groaned, landing on the hard stone. He looked down. Yes! The one last bottle of wine was still under his doublet. He saved it! Oh, what beautiful act of heroism, and great ballad material, the poet did not doubt, because he intended to write it himself, smearing that bastard from Sidaris in it. Ha! He immediately shared the thought with Geralt, and the Witcher laughed. Dandelion couldn't believe his ears. The matter was serious, even deadly serious, and this asshole was croaking like a wench deflowered by... Wait a minute. It dawned on the bard. He began to hum the tune he sang on stage during the day. Under the stage? Witcher, he asked loudly, sing with me! It may help us remember. No fucking way? Really? No fucking... How could you, Geralt? So disrespectful. I shared my wine with you. I revealed my secrets to you. For fuck's sake, I even love you like a brother. To his surprise, Dandelion woke up not only in his bed, but also with a beautiful girl at his side. The circumstances would typically have been a pleasant turn of events, if only his head did not ache as severely as it had the previous morning. The events of the nightly escapade with his new-found Witcher compatriot remained foggy at best. To his dismay, his loot was nowhere to be found from among his belongings scattered on the ground. While he was searching frantically for it, the girl's big green eyes glared at him in a disturbingly piercing manner, as if she was enjoying something too much. Dandelion frowned, suddenly remembering the more critical part of the conversation with Geralt. The Witcher had rather crudely explained to him why the band of thugs was chasing them. From these observations, it became clear that they would certainly should do their best to leave the city as soon as possible. Yet, instead of being far behind the gates of Goulet, he found himself in the chamber of the mayor's house in the company of the green-eyed maiden, who, at the second glance, seemed strangely familiar. The answer to this quandary, he pondered, was likely hidden behind her stare, which was now grown into a disconcerting smile that sent shivers down his spine. Seeing no other solution, Dandelion finally decided to ask her about his loot and inquired into the reason she smiled at him so. Chapter 3, Geralt. Two brothers burst through the front door, while the other two more subtly entered through the back. Only the cellar remained safe, so, with the aid of the nearby courtesans, they quickly made themselves scarce, leaving their pursuers none the wiser. Geralt listened as 4 pairs of shoes scuffled on the floor above, the angry voices of the 4 brothers searching the brothel carried through to the cellar. The Witcher didn't have the desire to fight once more, and Dandelion had become mesmerised with thoroughly examining the wine rack. Theft seemed a miserable way to show appreciation for aid rendered, which Geralt felt obliged to point out. Outraged, Dandelion mumbled with anger that he hadn't robbed anyone but simply made a purchase. It wasn't his fault that the current conditions made it impossible to pay. Nonetheless, he put the bottle down and pulled some writing instruments from his bag. Geralt watched in silence while the bard wrote a letter that was supposed to oblige the mayor of Goulet to settle their bill. The poet claimed that he had not yet received the final payment for his performance, and well, he shouldn't be expected to go and get the coins at the present now, could he? Best to spend it on the wine clearly laid out for them. The Witcher found it impossible to argue with such logic, mainly because he had difficulty focusing himself. Therefore, having agreed, he took another bottle out of the rack. Shh, he murmured to Dandelion, trying to determine if those above... Wait, who were they actually? Geralt couldn't remember. Never mind, he thought. They have already gone, haven't they? I guess so, but why risk it? There was a window in the basement that a man could easily squeeze and escape through. There were also bars, but nothing a little hard couldn't fix. Just be careful. Quiet. Plague, what the fuck? Geralt shook his head, deeply stunned. Meanwhile, Dandelion was just trying to rise from the shifting floor, stumbling over his own legs. The window was gone, leaving a large hole in its place. Geralt glanced back to the demolished wall of the Little Flower from his new vantage outside. Stooped in a dark street. How did I get here? The Witcher asked himself. It's probably Dandelion's doing. The fool does everything in... Oh, he took wine with him. Wonderful man. Geralt accepted the bottle and, taking a sip, listened to the poet's constant jabbering. What the fuck is he blabbering about? What troubadour from Sidaris? Dumbass Dandelion. He has to be denser than a rock. There is no other bard's plot other than the unpleasant consequences of a frivolous ride. Time passed over the Witcher's head for a third time. Where were they actually? Geralt was unable to concentrate due to the bard's insistent bellowing. Hey, poet, give our ears a rest, and wine! More wine! Okay. Geralt waved a hand. Don't fret, I respect you, duh. I too fucking love you like a brother. It's all going on. To his surprise, Geralt woke up in the muck of the stables firmly under Roach's watchful gaze. This circumstance would have been considered as the norm for him if he hadn't felt so miserable, as if he'd lost his natural resistance to toxins. The night's events were a faint blur, requiring considerable effort to recall. But what's most unexpected, he had Dandelion's loot under his arm. When the Witcher looked at it closer, Roach's blind expression became so strangely human and full of reproach, as if the horse blamed him for a late return, drunkenness, and... Geralt winced, suddenly remembering the nightly conquests with Dandelion, especially one idiotic part of the conversation. The bard had moved quite smoothly from the uncomfortable topic of 4 angry brothers to the issue of brotherly love. Despite this, somewhere between patting themselves on the back and loudly placing male friendship over fleeting affairs, they agreed to leave the city together. However, something different happened. Something unfortunate. Damn. Along with the memories, the Witcher became overflown by the strong urge to depart Goulet. Roach was now not only staring at him, but also snorting accusingly. Sighing heavily, Geralt finally stood up, hid the instrument in the horse's saddlebags, and went back to find the man-child musician, poetic liar, and all-around unfortunate idiot. Hey guys, thank you for watching Chapter 3 of the Gwent Journey story with me. There are still a lot of questions left unanswered, with only one chapter remaining of this journey. Will Dandelion ever find his loot? Will either of them ever wake up without a hangover? Hopefully we find out the answers next time in the final chapter of this Gwent journey. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will hope to see you next time. There's a link below.